Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments. Ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR. Practice management simplified. Recover, new revenue, no compromise. Cool Blue VA, your virtual assistant. The Chiro Speaking Company, attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. OmniWave, redefining comfort and acoustic wave technology. The Chiro Hustle Podcast is sponsored by Chiro Health USA, ChiroScript AI, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 689 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we have the opportunity of interviewing Hugh Liddle. And if you want to get your sales message on point, listen to the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have Hugh Liddle coming on with me from Sebring, Florida, and I'm out here in beautiful Grand Junction, Colorado. This is episode 689 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I want to give you guys a quick introduction of why we do what we do, and then I'll go a bit into the topics that Hugh and I will be discussing today. First things first, Chiro Hustle stands for freedom of speech. We believe that no one should ever be censored, traffic throttled, or shadow banned. We know what that feels like, and we'd never do that to you. We believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. They're not the same things, but if you need that, go find a chiropractor in your neighborhood. I'm sure somebody would be happy to help you. Philosophically speaking, we support BJ Palmer's last words, and that is called the Sacred Trust. If you want to know more about that, please go to the show notes and click on the link for the Sacred Trust. Philosophically speaking, all down the line, we believe in innate intelligence, universal intelligence, and educated intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. I know it sounds woo-woo, but go get adjusted. Last thing, we believe in subluxation-based chiropractic. If you have a chiropractic student in your life or a young DC in your life that's not getting philosophy and they're a couple years out or still in college, please share the show with them so they can understand the wisdom that we produce with and the amount of people that we have on the show. Give them 4 to 5 episodes that they can listen to so they can start understanding the philosophy of chiropractic. All right. This is episode 689. Like I mentioned, this is Hugh Liddle, and we're going to be discussing a couple topics on his background in sales, the definition of wizard to him, selling chiropractic, his book, The Icky and Scary, take the icky and scary out of sales. He's had a radio show. He loves music, and we're going to dive into you statements and open-ended questions, and hopefully I get to ask a couple of those to him. So without any further, Hugh, welcome to the show.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you so much, Jim.
Yeah, understanding chiropractic is a big idea. When you start to understand the depth, the science, the philosophy, the art of this profession, the part that they really don't really understand is the sales. So let's jump into that part of your life, sales and chiropractic.
Awesome. Well, I started out as a child, and the minute that I was born, I became a salesperson because my parents wanted to do everything they could to just take care of that little person that they made together. And I gave them the opportunity to do that because whenever I was wet or hungry or just needed to be picked up, I let them know. And they were just very, very happy to respond to that by giving me what I was asking them for. And that is a sale. So I was in the United States Air Force for 4 years. And when I got out of the Air Force, the very first job that I had was a sales job, and I've been selling ever since. I wasn't very good at it when I first started. I thought that I was going to just be laughing my way to the bank every Friday because I'm a pretty good talker, and And I found out that there is more to selling than just talking. There's a skill to it. And it doesn't make any difference what product or service you're providing. Selling is a vital part of it. And without a sale, there's nothing much in this life that really happens. I wouldn't be married right now if I wasn't a pretty good salesman. And I think that's probably true of most guys, and the women do their fair share of the selling as well. Raising kids is a sales process. It's a process of letting them know what they need to do, how they need to behave, how they need to study in school, what they need to do to really be successful and get along in this life. And that's all a sales process. In fact, just about every conversation that we have with other people, there's some kind of a sale that's involved in that process. So that was the beginning of my sales career, was in 1970, and I've been selling ever since.
So relate this to chiropractic. Maybe give chiropractors some takeaways today on what they can do to structure sales and the concept and the strategies.
Well, I think that the main thing that doctors need to understand, because typically they are teachers and they like to tell people everything that there is to know about what they do and how they do it and what's involved in chiropractic. And there's a time and a place for that. The time and the place for that isn't in the sales conversation before those people become practice members. A sales conversation is all about finding out what the person wants and why they want it, and whether they qualify to be a practice member. That's what the sales conversation is about. So it's much more about asking really good open-ended questions and finding out what people want and why they want it, and to find out whether they actually are qualified to be practice members, because there are some things that the prospective practice member needs to have going for them if they want to be a practice member in a chiropractor's practice. And the three major things are that they have to have the ability and the desire to get well, and they have to have the resources to get well, and they have to be open to doing what the chiropractor asks them to do so that they can get well. And if they're lacking in any of those, they're not going to be a good practice member. So that's part of the process, is to ask enough questions that you find out who has the ability and the desire to really be a good practice member, and not take anybody else into your practice, or anybody into your practice who doesn't fit that criteria, who really isn't a good fit, because they'll just stay for a minute and then they'll leave. And sometimes they go out and tell other people, don't go to that person. They didn't do me any good. And it's because they didn't follow through and they didn't do what they were asked to do. Typically, that's the problem, not the chiropractor.
Yeah, I think a lot of times what you're saying, it makes sense to me too. Like, people have to be an active participant in the betterment of their health. And I love the process of asking questions too, because there's no quicker way to have somebody tell them themselves than to ask them something that's limiting them with their health. They're waiting for somebody to actually ask them what they've done. They're excited to have somebody ask them if they are interested in chiropractic. They really want you to ask them that. They want you to invite them in and join your community. And I think now people are just really curious about what else is out there. And I've been working in the profession for 16 years now, and I have seen the conversation shifting that people are really curious about what they can do to stay healthy. And honestly, they don't know where to go or who to trust. They're very confused in today's market, and people are just running around chasing their tails. And if they knew that chiropractic was the answer to their health solutions, they would be like, honestly, every chiropractor, they would come to work every day and they'd have a line of 50 to 100 people outside their door, because how valuable the profession is for longevity of people's health.
I always call chiropractic the Rolex of healthcare, because to my knowledge, it's really the only kind of healthcare that really is looking at helping a person get well and stay that way, rather than dealing with short-term challenges and just fixing it for a minute. So chiropractic, instead of being focused on, okay, you're fixed or your symptoms are blotted out for just a little bit because of the medication that I gave you or whatever. Rather than that, chiropractic is about moving from where you are now to a place of optimal health and staying there for the rest of your life. Term thing. And it's the only kind of healthcare that I'm really aware of that isn't a short-term fix of some kind, and that really looks at a person's lifetime health and really getting them healthy and keeping them that way. And I think that if it's done right, it's not chiropractic isn't a short time, one-time thing. It becomes a lifetime choice for people to be taken care of and to really enjoy their lives and be able to just enjoy a life of good health and do the things that they really want to do and feel good and function well and probably even live longer. There's a lot of research that has to do with longevity of life. If you don't have an accident, if you're under chiropractic care on a regular basis, you usually live longer.
Yeah, my communication paradigm has shifted, like I was mentioning before we got into that. I've now started to talk to people about how a chiropractor has an impact on their organ system, on their glandular system. Then I go to the nervous system. Then I go to the spinal canal and how it has an impact on the glandular system, the nervous system, and the organs. And then I go full circle back out of that, and I say, well, the real story is most people find chiropractor because of some type of pain, headache, neck, arm, back, leg, something's not feeling right. So eventually they find their way to the chiropractor. But really what we do is we have an impact on the glandular system, the nervous system, and the organ system. And they access that through correcting vertebral subluxation, which is a part of your spine. If something's out of alignment, they correct that. The body self-regulates, self-heals. The body doesn't need anything extra in it, simply needs no interference. Once interference is cleared, the body self-regulates and self-heals. Pretty cool, right? So that's the conversation I have with people.
Yeah, you can actually just say truthfully that every cell in the body is affected in a positive way by chiropractic adjustment. It's absolutely true.
Yeah, and I think you're right too. When people have chiropractic regularly, and it's not like they have to go, like I have to go to this place. When they realize it's a part of like a lifestyle maintenance that they get to go, and it's like a great thing to do, then the whole paradigm of people wanting to be an ideal candidate for chiropractic care shifts fast, because now you have somebody's like, I don't care what it costs, just take my card, debit me, charge me, whatever, and just keep me on a running statement, and I'll get my bill or whatever once a month, once every 2 months, once every 6 months. Like it doesn't matter at that point. You're just on autopilot. It's good for you.
Yeah, I used to be one of those guys that went into the chiropractor's office and I would say to them when I first went in, now I don't want any of these programs where you come in on a regular basis. I just want to come in whenever I want to come in. And, if I heard I want to come in, I want you to fix it. And then I'll come in again if I'm having problems again. And I never had one chiropractor in my life who ever said to me, that's not what happens here. You need to commit to really taking care of your health and changing your health, and coming in whenever you need a little help with your pain threshold. That doesn't get it. I never had anybody say that to me until I got acquainted with Dr. Danny Knowles. And what I've found out since is that having regular chiropractic care and keeping your body in a state of optimal health is the way to go. It's not the just, oh, now I feel good, I don't have to go. Oh, now I don't feel good, I guess I better go. That yo-yo thing, I can't believe I did that for so many years and was so stubborn about it.
Well, if it's not our idea, it's hard for us to adopt it. And I think that's why I like the open-ended questions where I ask them, so did you injure yourself? Are you doing anything for this? Have you ever been to the chiropractor before? Then I let them tell me. And then I say, great, well, you're an ideal candidate for what we do. I know we can help you. So I switched the game on them very quickly to let them know, like, look, I know you're very curious about taking care of yourself. By the way, we got you. And at that point, something shifts in them. And then I say, when you go in, just take the recommendations of the doctor, because as you said, nothing up to this point has helped you or it hasn't worked. So you might want to just listen to what they do for you when they get that second visit, when they tell you what's going on and how much concern there is, and then they tell you how they can help you. I was like, you might just want to take their advice just this one time and see if this is the one thing that will happen in your life that will make all these things that you're telling me right now get better.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, right?
It is.
So let's jump into this topic, use statements. I know that you were, hot to trot when we were doing our pre-interview chat about use statements. What are use statements, and how do those fit into our conversation today?
What's very common in selling is for people to talk about themselves and what they do and how they do it, and especially with chiropractors, they love to educate people and tell them about, we do this and we do that, and this is how we do it, and this is what's involved, and all of those kinds of things. And there is a time and place for that. And the time and place for that is after they become practice members, educating them about what you're doing and what they're doing and how it's working and why it's working and all of those kinds of things. That's a vital part of the process. When you're having a sales conversation before they become a practice member, that's not the time to unload all of this really great information on people and let them know about all of those things. It's a time to tell them what the result is that they can have when they receive care in your office. So you statements, you and your statements, rather than us, we, our, me, my, I, is a much better way to go as you're making statements about what's possible for them when they receive care. So you can have, you can do, you can be, you can learn, you can enjoy, you can take advantage of, you can, is what you need to be talking to people about. Because honestly, when somebody comes into your chiropractic office and they're thinking about receiving care from you, they don't care about you and what you do and how you do it. They care about what's in it for them. If I become your practice member, what's in it for me? How is that going to help me feel better? How is that going to help me enjoy my life more? How is it going to keep me out of pain? What's it going to do for me? And the direct answer to that question, what's in it for me, is you can have, you can do. Your health is really important. You can change it. So rather than saying, we do this and we do that and we do this and we do that. That's not the time for it. And after you find out what's going on with that individual and why they came into your office and what they would like to change in their life, the best way that you can possibly proceed is to tell them what's in it for them when they start care at your office. So let's just say, for example, that somebody says, my back is really giving me fits. And man, you know what? I love to go to the gym, and I haven't been able to go to the gym in 6 months. And man, I've just been gaining weight, and I don't feel good about myself. I can't get in my clothes anymore. And, life has just kind of sucks because of all of this challenge that I'm having with my back. And I really want to get it fixed. So in your you statement, after you find out what they want and why they want it and what's going on with them and what's the situation that brought them into the office, you can say to them, you mentioned that you really love to go to the gym and that you haven't been able to do that because of the way that your back is feeling. When you start care here, the number one goal for you and the doctor is going to be to get you back in the gym again just as fast as possible so that you can start working out and start getting rid of that extra weight and start feeling really good about yourself. How does that sound to you? Wow, that sounds awesome. So you're talking with them, not about we do this and we do that and we, I, our, me. You're talking to them about what they can have as a result of the care that they receive at your office.
So this question is very important to what you just mentioned. How do you fix that in someone? How do you fix somebody to switch from the I's and the me's and the we's to the you's?
It's like anything else. When you go to chiropractic school, you do the same stuff over and over and over and over again until it becomes second nature. And in working with clients, one of the things that we work on is role playing and scripting that doesn't have we, our, I, me, my, I in it, that is about you and your. And so scripting is very, very important when it comes to the sales process. You have to know what to say and how to say it and when to say it in order to be really effective in adding new practice members. And just a quick story about how that works. When I first started working with Danny Knowles's crew years ago in 2009, their conversion ratio was about 32%. And of course, they have packages that the investment is relatively large to have care in their office for very good reason, because they're really effective at doing what they do. And so it really was a matter of just working on them with some of the basics. And one of those basics was utilizing you statements rather than the other kind of statements. And in 2 months, their conversion ratio moved from 32% to 83%. And it was just a matter of what they were saying and the way that they were saying it as they were having sales conversations. And so they were able to help many more people and bring many more people into their practice. And if you know Danny, you know that he's just got a practice that's rocking and rolling up there in Boulder. And they have to this day a very, very high conversion ratio because they're having sales conversations that incorporate you statements.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments, ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR, practice management simplified. Recover, new revenue, no compromise. Cool Blue VA, your virtual assistant. The Chiro speaking company, attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. OmniWave, redefining comfort and acoustic wave technology. The Chiro Hustle Podcast is sponsored by Chiro Health USA, ChiroScript AI, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. Let's hustle. Yeah, I think a lot of it's the way we say stuff, the timing we say stuff, the inflections that we use to say things, picking the proper words to use. So, yeah, anybody that's watching is learning right now. I think there's a lot of wisdom right there. And the anchor word to this word wizard is wisdom. So it says here in your bio, Chiropractic Sales Wizard at Red Cap Sales Coaching and Elite Sales Academy. That word wizard, what does that mean to you?
Basically, what it means is that I've been selling since 1970, so I have a little bit of experience under my belt. And when I first started out, I have to be really honest with you, Jim. I have to tell you, I wasn't very good at it. And it really took me some time and effort and energy to learn how to do it successfully. And I'm still in the process of learning. I learn new stuff all the time about how to make selling more effective. And so it's been a lifelong learning process, and that's not going to stop anytime soon until I shuck my shoes and move on to whatever's next. I'm going to be learning and growing in this area. And so I think it's just really been a matter of learning and putting into practice the things that I've learned, and then being able to turn around and teach that to other people. And I'm pretty darn good at what I do. I do have a conversion ratio somewhere in the 90 percentile area. So cool. I've gotten fairly good at what I do. So the way that phrase or that word came into being in my practice is that one day I was on my way to the office and my wife was telling me bye, and I started singing, "I'm off to be the wizard, the wonderful wizard of sales." And so that's where it came from. And I decided that I would just utilize that in my marketing, and there it is.
I like it. I like it a lot. And not only are you proficient and love sales, but you're also an author, you host a radio show, and you have a deep love for music. Topic one, let's talk about the book. It's called Take the Icky and Scary Out of Sales.
Yeah, that book is just the basics of selling successfully. And it talks about you statements, and it talks about, all of the things that anybody would need to know to sell their services. And so there are two versions of that out, because things always change, and I probably am going to do another version pretty soon, because I'm always learning and growing, and so I'd like to pass that along to other folks. And it just takes the whole sales process and the sales scripting and how to say what you say, and what you need to do, and how you need to interact with the people who are coming into your office to inquire about taking advantage of your services. And it was a real joy doing that. And I really came into chiropractic selling about the time that things really started to change in sales generally, because with the advent of the internet, selling really has changed. It used to be that you had to tell people all about yourself and how long you'd been in business and what you'd been doing and how you did it and what was involved, and maybe share some testimonials with people. And by the time that somebody comes into your office to see you, they've already checked you out online, and that's the reason they came in to see you in the first place. And all of that already has been covered. So the sales conversation changed at the point where people really started utilizing the internet to check out businesses before they even went to talk to them or even called them up. They look at them online and they see what people say about them and they see what they say about themselves. So even the sales copy that you utilize in your on your website is tremendously important. The way that you're saying what you're saying, using you statements rather than I, we, our, me, I on your website is really, really important. So it's from your marketing and advertising all the way through to asking for the sale and all the way through to keeping that person coming back again and again and again to receive care from you is all part of the sales process.
Well, I think it's really cool. Take the icky and scary out of sales. Version 2's out. I think he said that he might be working on version 3. Tell me about being a host of a radio show.
Well, I did that for 10 years and it's on hiatus right now. After 10 years, I actually am doing something as a different business in the music business, and so I put the radio show on hiatus at least for a while, and people can still go to my website and they can listen to all of the episodes of Sales Chalk Talk that are on there, and there are just guests who sell all kinds of different things, including chiropractic, who are guests on that show. And they talk about what they do and how they do it. And it's just some really fabulous stuff about how to be successful in selling your product or service on there. And it's all interview based. It's not really about me. It's about whoever the guests were that came on the show. So I think cool. I think it's a really good resource for people who want to be successful at selling. You can really learn a lot from those episodes.
How do you feel radio show differs from a podcast?
I don't think there's really a lot of difference in it. Not in the type of show that I did. It's very, very much very similar to what we're doing right now. You're asking really good questions and I'm doing my best to answer them. And that was sort of the format for my show as well. So
how does it feel to be on the other side of the microphone?
Oh, I love it. I love being on talk shows and on this kind of show is just really, really great. I really enjoy it. It's an opportunity to just share some things that people might want to know that could help them right away in their practices, and gives me an opportunity to talk. And you could probably tell I love to talk. So
yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying the conversation today on 689, this episode, and I think that there's a lot of things that you shared with me that I can implement. Like they say when you go to a seminar, things you can implement on Monday morning. I think since I do a show on Tuesday mornings, I can implement these on Tuesday morning. But as I listen to it more and more, and I go through the cadence of doing the interview process, I realize also, just like you, I never made this show to be about me. I made it to be about this profession. I was just at this thing called the Chiropractic Congress over the weekend, and I got sat down with a couple guys that were really curious about what I do. And maybe not so curious about what I do as to more curious about why I think the way that I do. And it gave me some opportunities to develop some clarity with these guys and to let them know, look, I've done something that no one has done before in this profession, is I've invited the whole profession into one stream of consciousness, which is a podcast. And I have similar conversations with people, but like I said at the opener, I've never censored anybody. I've never not aired somebody's episode. I've never discounted people's stories, and I've never thrown anybody's episode out. So I think that that's also why I love freedom of speech. And I think that that's something about being a journalist and doing this work, is it allows me to host people. And I tell people I'm non-denominational when it comes to chiropractic. Like, I love all of that, and whatever you decide to do as a professional, science, philosophy, and art, however you decide to adjust, that's up to you. That's your art. Now, do I have a whole different scope of how I think because of my background and where I was born and how I believe chiropractic to be? Yes. But do I think that somebody else is wrong for practicing the way that they find in their skill sets? Absolutely not. So I think that that's a big takeaway of having this conversation with you today on sales and how to structure that within chiropractic is every chiropractor will do it different. And I think that you have to find your energy match of who takes care of you. And then you have to stick with that person and trust that they're going to do the best job for you.
That's right.
At this juncture, we are at the edge of our conversation today. Are there any last statements that you'd like to make, or any web addresses or anywhere where people can find you?
Probably the best place to find me is my website, and that's redcapsalescoaching.com. And on there are podcasts. There's some videos about answering objections for chiropractors that are on there. Just various articles, all kinds of really good informational stuff. And probably the most important thing on there is there's a link on every page that you can click that will take you to my calendar. And you can schedule an hour of time with me and talk with me for up to an hour about what's going on in your practice and challenges that you might be having or ways that you can improve. And we can talk about all of those different kinds of things. Won't cost you a dime. And it's if you decide at some point in the process that you'd like to have some coaching with me, that's great. If you just want to take the things that we talk about during the call and apply those in your practice, and there are some things we can talk about that will really be helpful to you, some ideas and some strategies that you can utilize right away. And if you want to just take those and run with them, that's great. No problem at all. So I would just encourage you to take advantage of that.
I'll close out here shortly. One last question. Who's your ideal client?
My ideal client is a chiropractor who wants to build their practice and wants to have 60, 75, 85% of the people that they talk to about being a practice member in their practice say yes.
Awesome. So check out Hugh Liddle. Go to redcapsalescoaching.com. Hugh, thanks for spending some time with me today.
Really, really enjoyed it, Jim, and appreciate you having me on the show. It was fun.
Yeah. So check out him once again, redcapsalescoaching.com. Hugh Liddle. He's episode 689 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I will close out like I always do. You guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.